Hi, today I'm talking about constant worrying and how to make it stop. So that's what we're going to dive into today. I'm Rachel McLeod. I am a mental health therapist and emotional wellness coach and a therapist mentor. And I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. The brain has a beautiful process for this. This process is fast. It comes with our operating system. It's part of our design, and this process does get blocked and impaired and stopped. And so when it this our process for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, traumatic stress is blocked, we start having a buildup and backup of symptoms. And so my work is to help people get that brain process moving again and get that stuff that's not processing and backed up and all those symptoms resolved. And kind of feed them through the brain's process at whatever pace that brain likes. And so this is a very much faster process and much easier. And we help the brain resolve the symptoms for you instead of making you figure out how to willpower through them or this or that. It's a much easier process, and they are supposed to do their job, and the brain has a process for that. We can help it. So from that perspective, I'm going to dive in and talk about this constant worrying because I'm going to show you how to help your brain resolve the constant worrying process using the brain's natural process for this, a natural symptom resolution process. So let's talk about what is worrying, right? And I'm going to talk about this from the brain's perspective, but I'm going to talk about it from our perspective as well here for a moment. You're worrying if you're thinking about things in the future, you're trying to make plans, you're worrying what's going to happen, catastrophizing, thinking through catastrophes. That's a worrying process. Worst case scenarios, painful fantasies about escaping awful catastrophes, situations. That's worrying. Worrying about your to-do list the next morning. Worrying about what they said in the past, right? We can worry about things in the past as well. Worrying about how that situation went. Worrying about how someone's interpreting things. Worrying about what's going to happen to somebody. We can worry about. We are good at this. And the reason why we're so good at worrying is because it's actually a very healthy, awesome brain function that is actually malfunctioning on you and making your life miserable, and your experience and your emotions and your internal chemical concoctions pretty miserable as well. So we want this process running well, and I'm going to talk about what that looks like. And I know nobody talks about worry well, but I do all the time. This is a function that needs to be running at a very high level, and I'll talk about that in a second. But worrying is the brain's effort to help you rock your life. It's designed to help you thrive in your environment, in your situations, in your relationships. It's meant to be helpful. It's looking at future stuff, past stuff, running data, learning things, upgrading subconscious programming. There's a lot in here, but if your worrying process is malfunctioning, you're not getting any of the benefits. You're only getting the negative pieces of this, and that's how it works. And so if you're constantly worrying at this point, your brain is telling me that it hasn't had a lot of successful repetitions with this energy. With usually worry is a lot of fear, and so it's not processing fear well here. It's getting stuck and looping on fear, and so it's not converting this worry into success and wellness. Okay. When we have brain functions that are malfunctioning, they're going to come up from the subconscious layer and they're going to sit in your conscious mind. You're going to be very aware of these things. Sometimes we're not necessarily aware, but we'll catch ourselves drifting off into these scenarios, and we'll come to and be like, whoa, all this time passed and I was just sitting there staring at these things, right? So you're aware of your worrying process in that moment. Other times you'll notice, gosh, this keeps coming up for me. I keep worrying about this. I keep worrying about this. You're aware of your worrying process. If these processes are running correctly, they're running at the subconscious layer. They're going fast. You don't even know they're happening. It's just beautiful back there. They're like, we don't need any help. We got this. We're just planning for the future. I know we got these things we're going to do next tomorrow. We'll do it while we dream. You just keep sleeping. We got this. They're working on things for you, and you're going through these things things in your life seamlessly at high levels. And you're noticing yourself growing and mastering different things and thriving. Right? If this isn't happening well, you're going to notice this showing up in your dreams. You're going to notice you're going to wake up with nightmares. You're going to feel like you've been in stress dreams all night. You're going to wake up exhausted and working all night, working all day. This is an exhausting process when it's not working well. Where it's also depleting. It's nerve wracking. It sets us on edge. We start to get worried and afraid. Oh, when is it going to happen again? We start trying to avoid situations that are going to make us worry. We're finding ourselves annoying, and we're talking about this stuff. We don't even want to talk about these worries, right? But we're talking about them. Where we can't. Every time we talk to somebody, the worry is coming out because our brain is actually fixated on it, and it's preoccupied with processing the worry, with completing this worry process. We find ourselves frustrating, like, can't I just let this go? Oh gosh. And people are saying to you, hey, don't worry. I'd love to not worry, right? I'd love that. That'd be fabulous. It won't stop, right? These are all signs that this is not working. We may start to feel like we're becoming a burden in our relationship. We're the cloud, we're the downer. We might start worrying that something's wrong with us, or start feeling ashamed and start withdrawing. So this is a process, and that's what happens with brain processes that are not functioning well. That the brain's job is to take stuff and create health and wellness out of it. So, and we can measure health and how well these things are running by how long does it take my brain to have this situation and to convert it into wellness. Right, and along that process, we're going to notice security, stability being met, being created, where we might have noticed, oh man, I didn't do that very well. Maybe a little bit of insecurity, distress, right? How quickly can our brain take this scenario and upgrade it into higher functioning? Sometimes when you'll notice, not sometimes, but when you're having a situation that occurred, or something that brought up, whoa, I don't know what I'm going to do about that in the future, or that was embarrassing. I wonder if I'm going to do that again. I'm worrying that I'm going to do that thing again. And it's actually it takes a long time. We're feeling that insecurity for a long time. We're rehashing it. We're thinking about it again. We're actually withdrawing. We're actually feeling more ashamed. We're hiding, right? We're not seeing an upgrade. Brains are designed to take stuff and create function. If brains can't do that because this process is blocked, we're going to actually stop functioning. It's going to lower our function. And so that's just how brains work. If you find yourself withdrawing and you're like, no, don't withdraw, don't do it, help your brain create function with that thing, and you'll watch yourself not have to stay out there very long, or your brain will start making higher function, and you'll watch it, you'll observe it. That's why recovering from this is very tactile. It's not a hidden thing. I wonder if I'm worrying, not. I'm wondering if I am. I wonder how it's going. You should see your brain creating more, doing what brains do. Brains take these things and create the wellness and the higher moods and mastery and maturation. You should be watching those things. It's tangible. You should notice these things. People should be saying about you, wow, you used to worry and now you're not. That means your worrying process is growing, is maturing. And they might say things like, gosh, you used to really worry, but you seem so secure now. That's your brain got better at worrying, and now that functions in the background. So here we are at the point where I say we don't make worrying stop. That's not our goal here. We want to complete the worrying process. So, and then it feels like it stops because it's out of our awareness. Our brain is then running our worrying functions below the level of awareness. And we don't even need to call them worrying processes. We can call them our health and wellness creation, and our future pacing, and our go get great ideas and bring them back to me, right? That's what worrying is supposed to create. So we don't want to stop it. I don't want anybody in opposition to this process that they're doing. I do want you to align with it. I do want you to support the worrying, and I want you to practice worrying well. Okay. First step to worrying well is, can you observe it? Can you be aware of it? Okay. The next thing to doing this well is to actually help your mind body system complete the process. And that's what I want to talk about right now. And so, right, we have three players here on this process that we're working with: the body, the survival system, and the prefrontal cortex. This is the brain. This is your spine, your 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 brain stem right here, your survival system, and your the upper parts of the brain, where all your executive functioning sits. Right. So these are our three players. This one is going to disrupt this process of worrying well. This is going to block the body from completing, sending all this information up to the top of the brain. That's where we wanted to go. The body and the top of the brain have a whole relationship that creates health and wellness for us. And we want them talking a lot. We want the body to deliver tons of information up here. We want them, they're going to rewrite codes and programming and update you. This is the one that creates mastery, and they send that stuff back down. The body's like, oh, okay, great, we'll integrate that. That's all this stuff, right? But if worry is the body sending pain up to the top of the brain. Worry, to the survival system. The survival system's got a little crew of pain neurons in there. Emotional and social pain is registered in the brain the same way physical pain is. So if you're worrying, that's an energy that is more on the pain, in the pain family, right? If you're seeing catastrophic outcomes, you're running some fear, fright, terror, horror, all that information is going to come up. This part of your brain loves that stuff. They're like, send me all the emotions. I love them. I don't care how intense they are. They love that. This part of the brain does not. It thinks you're dying and it wants to get you away from it. So you're going to fight, flight, freeze, faint, or fawn. This is the part of the brain we want to influence a ton in this work, because the body is sending up lots of distress to the top because they're having a conversation, right? They're like, I know you need to create health and wellness, but I need to tell you all these things I'm terrified and afraid of so that you can figure it out, so that we're not so scared. And that's what they do that. And that people that are confident and secure, this process has happened over and over again. And this part of the brain has made security for that whole person. That's what we're trying to do. But this part of the brain will block it. This part of the brain needs a specific support. It doesn't care about this stuff. It's not a thinking center. It's not a reasoning center. It only cares, are we going to live or are we going to die? And it's not a talking or a word center. So you can't use words. Hey, we're going to live. Hey, it's going to be okay. It doesn't do that. It actually pulls its information and decision making from the body through the senses. And it has a way of interpreting that. And it's based on associations. Am I associating this with healing and wellness, or am I associating this with terror and danger? So things that might make my nervous system feel safe might terrify somebody else's. I love the right? To somebody else, that could be associated with a horror movie, My nervous system's not associated with relaxation and regulation. So we have to really find things that this part of that person's brain, it actually understands as safe. This is why we have emotional eating issues, because some brains have associated eating with safety. Right. And so once somebody starts eating, this part of the brain is listening, and it's like, okay, and the whole brain will come online, and actually they'll experience some growth there because these guys are talking. The body is talking because now this one's receiving enough support to determine that it's safe. And when it understands we're safe, it lets the top of the brain and the body communicate. And they have all these discussions, and the body's like, let me tell you everything. And the top of the brain is like, I'm listening, tell me more, tell me more. And this should be happening in a pretty calm state. And it'll happen a lot outside your awareness. You might not even know these things is happening, but we can see evidence of it. The brain will do specific things in here when this process is flowing. You can learn about that. You can watch it and you can be like, oh, look, I'm processing. Or, oh, look, I'm dysregulated and I'm in a survival state. You can recognize that as well. You can learn how to recognize stuff with your body sending information to the top. This is a whole situation that you can learn how to support. You can support your body to finish the worrying. We're back to worrying. This works with every symptom. Every symptom of anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress is the same loop we're working. We're just talking about it now from worrying. Okay? So the first step here is we want to see if we can, the first step to worrying well is really we want to see if we can become aware of it, and we can become aware that, hey, this is a really good process and it needs to function because it's really messing me up right now. The way it's malfunctioning is really causing problems. Two, we want to support the worry to complete, right? And the completing goes from the body up to the top. We want to complete that communication loop. That means we're talking to this part of the brain. Hey, we're safe. Let them talk. Let them talk. This part of the brain is, it really gets a bad rap. It is incredibly easy to influence. Uh, Incredibly. This is the part of the brain we're influencing when we're born and babies come out and they're crying, right? This part of the brain is like, I think we're dying. There's all this oxygen. We all have never seen this before. We're dying, right? You pick the baby up, you rock them, right? You start feeding them, right? They start making that sucking thing, which is it triggers this part of the brain. That part of the brain is like, oh, we're safe. It's in the design. It's in the way we're wired. Is that when we start doing the rocking, the feeding, the sucking motion, that is all this stuff is regulating. The survival system says this, and you'll notice the babies start to calm down, quiet, maybe some cooling, maybe whatever, right? Because they're actually now in a whole brain state. They're not in a survival system state. Now, fast forward 10, 5, 2 years, and they're walking, right? And they're bumping into things. They're crying. Mom or dad is going up and hugging them. You're okay. We're good. It's not the words, it's the sounds, it's the reassurance, it's the body connection, it's the I'm with you, you're not alone. That is signaling to this, we're safe. So then this whole brain thing comes along, and the child is growing and learning from the bumps and falls. Okay. Now, fast forward, we're worrying and we come in here and we start supporting this part of the brain. Maybe you don't want to suck your thumb anymore. Maybe you don't want to bottle anymore. I get it. We're maturing, but it would work because this part of the brain does not mature like that. But so we want an intervention. You want to work with this in a way that feels okay, right? It feels like I'm a mature person ish. So maybe you want I teach 3 interventions, 4 interventions here. I teach all my clients 4 ways of working with this part of the brain while we're working on worrying. And because this part of the brain will listen to them. And I teach 4 because sometimes people have different preferences and their brain likes something different. I teach thought field therapy, emotional freedom techniques, energy medicine, and EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, all designed to support this part of the brain and to get us in this brain state where things are healing. Once the body gets stuff up there, we're done. This part of the brain will rock that. You will see growth in health and wellness. You don't have to micromanage it at all. I don't even know that you can. I wouldn't even try, because this part is so brilliant and it's so designed specifically for you that we're just working on getting the information up there. We want, right? And we can sometimes there's unresolved trauma in here, that the body holds because it never could complete this connection. Every time the body said, oh, I know something about this and let me send this information up, this part of the brain said, that's so much pain, and shifted away from it. And so this trauma had to go back into the body. Maybe it's sitting in your stomach, maybe it's sitting in your shoulders, right? But when the worrying comes up, this trauma is going to be surfacing. It's going to freak out that part, and then we want this. So we're going to use an intervention here to talk to this guy, say, I know that trauma is really painful, so we're just going to talk to you, but while we're talking to you, please let them finish this conversation. This part of your brain loves traumas. It's like, let me look at it. They're not worried about, that's not the pain neuron place. This is the pain neuron place. You got to pass that. Okay. Now, the piece here, so you're getting this, that we want this process to, and you can see that if while worrying a trauma is involved and we can get that trauma processed, we have one less trauma in your body. Your body's not designed to store traumas for a long time, but they do. When we have unresolved trauma, we have complex PTSD. Unresolved traumas create anxiety and depression. So we want that processed up. So we're just helping the mind-body system complete their work. This is like taking off backpacks and backpacks. You'll watch yourself be lighter. You'll watch yourself get out of these depleting patterns, and you'll watch yourself start to worry well. Okay. The other thing, so it's just those two things, awareness and really intervention, helping this complete. Now, if we can do one, great, where everything's going to get better. If we can do where it takes something that you're worrying about and get it through the process and your brain takes it and creates health and wellness, we've done two. Now we're feeling even better, and our brain is starting to learn things. It's saying, hold up, there's a pattern here. Okay, and now we're going to go and we're going to grab another worry and we're going to get it through the process successfully. And the brain is like, what? Look at that. And you're noticing, and your brain is watching too. We're healthier. That thing stopped looping. We feel better. In that situation where this worry used to tank us out, we're not tanking. We're actually standing here with our whole executive functioning on. We used to have to go lay down or go to sleep or go eat, get triggered something to fight, flight, freeze, faint, or fawn, survive this. So we could be in a survival state of somehow. But now we're actually completing the process with our executive functioning hanging out with us. That we're actually engaged in a task with our executive functioning available. Yes, this is what we want to do. We don't not have problems. We engage with our problems with our executive functioning where we have planning and decision making and solutions and resources. We want this brain here because it's our problem solver. We don't want this. This is irritability, angry outbursts, sleeping, falling asleep, fawning, fainting, right? We want to be in a whole brain state in our life more and more and more. This is what we're working for. And we want to take the brain and we want to regulate and we want to regulate and we want to come into a whole brain state and we want to come into a whole brain state. We're doing it by influencing this part. Okay. Once we've done it 3 times, we're going to keep going. So I want you to hear that we are practicing worrying. And this is what I have clients do. This is really actually the deal, that we practice worrying. We find all the worries and we just go at them and we help the brain with them. So after we've done 3, now the brain is listening. Now we're like, there's something here. Something's happening. Let's do 4. Not only are we resolving worry, we're actually walking the brain through a new process of what we're doing. We're going to do something new with worry. We like this process better. And we're going to guide it for a while because brains like to go back to their old patterns. But in this case, we're going to keep going and we're going to do this 6, 7, 8 times because we're going to get a lot of stuff to the top. We're going to create a lot of reorganization. This process is the brain's way for reorganizing, growing. We're going to create a lot of maturation in this worrying process. We're going to create a ton of mastery. We are going to create a ton of new programs, new ways of being with the worry. So the next time we're going to go in here, your brain at some point in here is going to be like, oh, let me try. Let me see if I can do this worrying thing. So all the worries we've got written down that we're going to go after, pretty soon we come back and, oh, this one's already resolved. Oh, I'm not doing that one anymore. That doesn't look very important. This one. And we're going to keep finding ones that the brain is having problems with that we can feel in our body. The worry we can feel in the body, maybe dread, fear, that are charged with some negative emotion, pain, what will register as pain in the body. And we're going to grab it and we're going to keep helping. We're going to get this process so strong because your brain's getting so much intentional, supported practice with this that it's learning all. And pretty soon you're watching your relationship with worry change. You're over here, I'm worrying well. I'm worrying well. We're practicing worrying well. And you're less afraid of the worry. You're not afraid of falling into a worry trap. And next thing you know, you're actually like, oh, hey, there's some worry. Because you know, if the worry's in your face, your brain is actually, that's how your brain asks you, hey, I'd like some help with this. It doesn't say, hey, I'd like some help with this. It actually just puts it in your awareness. It's like, I can't do anything with this. I'm not a problem solving center. I need to put it to the part of the brain that's the conscious mind. We're going to put this in your awareness. Right? And so you say, oh, brain, I see you need some help with this. I got you. Let's go. And so now you and your brain are team working, and your brain is like, oh, I'm working in the back. I'm cleaning up all this stuff. But hey, I need your help with this. And so you're like, got you. Let's rock. Right? And the next thing you know, you don't even know that you're working on worry anymore. And you've actually started a new project and you've gone on to this and then I say, hey, how's that worrying thing going? And you're like, oh yeah, good. It's going well. I haven't been paying any attention to it. I haven't seen it. Yeah, because it went back down to the subconscious programming because it's not malfunctioning anymore. You actually have a functioning worrying process that is now called something else. Wellness creation. We'll just call it. You have a process that was creating problems that is now creating wellness on tap at the speed of life, which is what you want. And if it has struggles with something, it's going to say, "Hey, I got a problem." It's going to bring it to your, and you're going to be like, "I got you. I know exactly how to help you get this to the top where they will solve this problem for us." And that is how we do it. And we repair the worrying process. And we actually get your brain to convert it into a health and wellness process like it's supposed to be. So that's how we make it stop. We make it complete. Anyway, um, so I want to invite you right now to try 3 of my favorite ways of working with this process, working with this part of the brain. It's a new way of influencing the brain. It's different than talk therapy, which addresses this part of the brain. These interventions influence this part of the brain, and they are fast. They take 30 seconds to 2 minutes to use. They will get you huge results if your brain likes them, and you won't know unless you try them. So that's why I have people try them in our very first session, and I watch. I want to see their brain. What are you doing, brain, with this kind of support? And I'm looking for very specific measurables. I have a free program where I teach these, and I also have a video in there where I show you exactly what we're looking for your brain to do, so you can see if you give your brain this kind of support, does it start doing these things? If so, you got a match. You got a way of working with your survival system, this part of your brain, that you can start relying on and using. And you have a nice new way of talking to that part of your brain in its native language, giving it what it needs. Okay. The other thing, if you have one of those online and you're like, this works, then I have a program where I walk all my clients through. I created it to guide people through the process of overcoming anxiety, depression, and trauma, and complex trauma, and and it's a step-by-step process. It's like, okay, we're going to get in here, we're going to repair these systems. Okay, we're going to get in here, we're going to process these issues. They're going to get in here, we're going to do this, and then we're going to work through the subconscious program, right? We're going to do all these little projects in phases that help you build skills, work on things in layers, make sure you don't lose track because it can get wild up there. So it's very organized, and it's basically a roadmap to wellness, to restoring functions, to create and pull them into wellness creation processes in your brain that you can let go of and trust your brain is going to do a great job with them. And if it doesn't, it's going to let you know. And then you're going to help it. And then it's going to get better. And this is how we create increasing health and wellness. So I have a program for that that's available on my website. I put the information about the links in the description of this program, of this video. And so you can jump on there, try the free program right away. If you're like, I want to do the whole thing, you'll get access to the videos in the training, in the Inner World Transformation program. And those videos are in there as well because those are vital. If you don't have a way of talking to this part of the brain, I suggest you don't do trauma work. You don't do anxiety work. You don't do until you have a way of regulating your nervous system, because you don't want to do the work and bring it up, but it gets pushed back down in your body. This is how we create depression and all sorts of things. We want to be doing our trauma work in this state. And so we need an intervention where we can support the brain being in this state. So that's in both programs for free. Just try them out. Or if you're like, hey, I just want to get started, they're in there too for people like you that want to do that. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about anything I just shared in this video, go ahead and leave them here. I am paying attention, and I will respond eventually. Wonderful connecting with you all. And so good luck on your worrying journey. Worry well. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.